Hey guys, what is up? Happy Tuesday. I always have to think, what day is it? I never know. Hope you are all doing well. I was looking at chat before I started, and thanks, Puddletown. I get a hairy sausage, and Gabby gets an awesome sauce. Ah, you're lucky I have a sense of humor, but I do. Hello, Laura. How are you? Welcome. My chat is pretty good. I will agree. Hello, Tracy. Good to see you again 2 days in a row. I'm excited. Hey, Holly. Hope you're doing well. Had a good day. Well, look who it is. I'd say the stream tomorrow is very up in the air because Carmen's not feeling well. She has a very bad case of strep. So she will let me know tomorrow, let Gabby know tomorrow, and so that way I can get a stream set up if I need to. But it's about 50-50 right now. So I feel sorry for her. Strep is no fun. And I was telling her, I was like, I think because I used to get it all the time, then I had my tonsils taken out and I have never had it again. And she had her tonsils removed, and she, for some reason, not recently, but when she was a kid, and then now she has that. Hello, Gabby. At least you. I'm still thinking of when you put, "Hey, AJ, hey." I can't stop reading that in my mind. All right. Well, I don't know if the world is on fire or anything today because I've been busy at my dad's and haven't watched anything or heard anything. I think it's all right. I guess. I have no idea. Um, I'm pretty sure it's not mono, but I don't ask. She's an adult. I don't ask. Don't worry, she would tell me. So we are on the last day, part 3 of Kim's, Dan and Betty's daughter's testimony. Unfortunately, we are still on cross-examination. Yay, said no one. Ben Stein at this point is probably like, that guy needs to stop talking. So it's going to last for a little while, I think. I don't know. I just know that she's on the stand for the whole time, and it's about 2 hours. So, yeah, I'm hoping that it's not him the whole time because yesterday was kind of torturous. I'm being honest. That guy gave you dry eyes. Well, I don't have anything. Oh, you can't see him because I haven't put him on the screen. But the judge looks like he looks like he always looks, but he really looks like he's just like, why? Why did I become a judge? It was dumb. Puddletown did give Church Lady a shout out, so shout out Church Lady from Puddletown. She's probably not still around, if I'm honest. What's on the front of that guy's, not the lens part, the part where that guy's putting his face up to on the camera? There's a big black thing. It looks like a pillow. And I know it's not, but it should be because that would be better for some reason. But I'm like, what the heck is that thing? I'm assuming so the light doesn't get in or something that they used to kind of have to have on vintage stuff. This is back in the olden days, back in 1991, the year I graduated high school. And I said yesterday this was the second trial that they showed on Court TV after the Pamela Smart trial. This was the first trial that I watched, and I fell in love with watching trials. And I was very mad when the original Court TV went off the air. But it did. So, but yes, so I remember watching this trial, and I remember watching the miniseries about it and all the stuff. There was a lot of stuff because Betty was everywhere. Betty did media any chance that she had to get in front of a camera. She did. And she put her side of the story out as much as she possibly could. I think we're kind of starting to see that there's always three sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. So I would say that with her and Dan. There's his side, there's her side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. It may be a little lopsided in favor of one of the other as far as who's a little bit more unhinged. I mean, we would probably say it would sway towards her because she is where she is. But we weren't there, so we don't know. And I'm not taking her side, but yes, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I have to try something really quick. I don't know what this is going to do. So, but StreamYard has this thing where it says I can put chat up on the screen, but I don't think you guys can see it. Can you see chat? Like if you send a chat, can you see it? I don't think so, because I just see a transparent box. And I don't know why I would need to do that. All right, I'm turning it off. I just told you I was just going to try. All right, I have sound boosted a little bit. I still have it muted because subconsciously I didn't want to unmute it. Gabby. All right, I'll try to turn it back on one more time. I'll leave it on for a minute. Let's see if anything pops up in there, but I don't think it will. Because I don't see it when I look over up there. Oh, there it is. It's tiny. I've seen it on like YouTube itself. Like if I'm watching it on my TV, I can have the live chat going. It drives me crazy. But it's like teeny tiny on here. I don't know. If you guys want it on, I can leave it on. If you don't want it on, I will turn it off. I don't care one way or the other. It's whatever is more comfortable for you because I can see chat anyway. So, but yeah, there it is. All right. Yay. Can you make it bigger without making myself small? Gosh, Gabby. That is they didn't give me that option. That does not make it bigger. And I did make I don't know. It didn't give me the option to do that, and it just says beta by it, so I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know. No. The answer, oops. See what's happening now. All right, that's enough. That's enough. No, don't be serious. Okay, here we go. Let me know how the sound is. If I need to turn it up, turn it down, turn it off. Let's do this.
Your mother would talk to the children, and then the children would have to talk to your father to get an answer to relay back to your mother.
Objection in this state.
Sustained. Your mother would talk to the children, is that correct? About
Yes.
visits?
Yes, she would.
And then the children would talk to your father?
Well,
Yeah, yes, basically, one of them would tell them if they wanted them that weekend, and then the other one would work it out with the other one, yeah.
And then your father would give the answer to the children. He wouldn't give it to your mother, is that right?
Right,
And then the children would relay that to your mother.
right.
And do you remember testifying that there was at least one occasion where your mother you didn't know your mother was trying to get a hold of you because the phone was off?
I don't remember testifying to it, but, I think that happened. I think I called her once and then she called me back and I didn't know she called me back.
Some of these these tapes that were copies of tapes that were in the machine, Linda made some of those tapes, didn't she?
I'm not aware of that. I know she sometimes heard the tapes, but I don't know if she made the tapes, the other tapes.
Remember testifying, being asked last time if Linda got involved in the process of making tapes and you indicating yes?
Sometimes she heard the tapes and would bring them to Dad's attention. I wasn't around when Dad made the tapes either. They just took the tapes and then they'd record them.
I can show you page 336, line 5 through 7. Read that to yourself.
Which part?
336, lines 5 through 7.
Yeah.
When you were asked about whether you knew whether Linda got involved in making the tapes, your answer was yes, correct?
Well, got involved in the process of making the tapes. She would bring the tapes to Dad. I never saw her make the tapes. I never saw Dad make the tapes. I really don't know who exactly made the tapes.
So you saw her.
If they would hear a tape, she would have something to do with it. The only reason that they made tapes, put them on other tapes, is because there were so many messages on the machine. They couldn't bring in all the messages.
Did they tell you why they couldn't just give a whole tape?
Well, they're messages from our friends. They weren't all from Mom.
Some of them were from Mom that weren't bad, wasn't there? Did your mother at least once leave a message that wasn't a bad message?
Yes, I told you that. She would leave bunches of messages. Some were bad, some weren't. Some were for us, some were nice, some were just talking to the boys, and then some were mean to us and to Dad.
Was there any reason that they couldn't give the court the messages that weren't mean?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Well, you just said that there was reasons that they couldn't give a whole tape that showed everything that was done on the phone that day. Was there a reason that you knew for that?
Not that anyone told me, just what I would assume. Why would a court want to hear every message that we had in a day? The only point to making the tapes was so that Mom would stop calling and saying bad words. That's the only reason Dad brought them to court.
Were you at any of those hearings about the tapes?
No. Well, the one I wasn't at, I think that they talked about tapes.
Which hearing was that? Remember when?
Well, she went to jail afterward.
And did you ever hear your mother complain that the tapes were edited and that she left other calls on there that weren't just before that?
Objection, Your Honor, that misstates the evidence. It's fact not, and it's used not evidence.
Sustained.
Did you ever know why the phone was put in the closet?
It was just continually ringing. That was sometimes a reason. He never really said. He'd just take it out, put it in the closet.
So you didn't know why?
No. We could assume why, but no, we didn't know why.
There were sometimes the boys would hear your mother's voice on the answering machine. She was talking and they'd get upset because they couldn't find the phone, right?
I don't remember that in particular, but when people would be leaving messages and we couldn't find the phone, we got upset. So we'd run around and try and find the phone. I
Remember?
don't remember that incident in particular, but if mom had called and we were all trying to find the phone, if she was talking and we would try and find the phone, that would have happened.
Well, you remember testifying at the last trial that there was times when the boys would hear your mother's voice and they would be upset because they didn't know where the phone was.
We all would try and find the phone. Yes, I remember that. That would happen. When anyone would call, we could find the phone too.
The, now the phone calls that you received from, first from Lee and your mother on the day that your father died, do you remember what your mother said and what Lee said?
Not some of the things. Some of the things, yes, I remember which one said, but some of it, I don't remember which one of them I heard it from. Like the, okay, you shot me, I'm dead. That I don't remember which one said that.
The, and you also got the impression from those conversations that they didn't know if your father was dead or not, is that correct?
Yes, that's the impression that I got.
And also, now, during the time that, when your mother would get mad at your father, sometimes it was over the cars that he was driving, is that correct?
She's not mad about everything. I don't know. That was one particular incident. She's probably mad about a million things, and she brought up the car too.
Well, when you four children were living with your father, he was driving a Corvette.
Yes, she was mad about the Corvette.
Okay, and she was mad that he wouldn't buy a family car, is that right?
She wanted him to buy a family car. Yes, that's correct.
And so he would drive all of you around in the Corvette.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes Linda would be there with the four of you.
And I don't know if we ever all fit in there. But sometimes she'd be, I think then we take two cars. I don't think we could all fit in there.
There were arguments about food from your, about food at your father's house, wasn't there?
With whom?
Between your mother, some of the things that she was yelling about why she was mad at your father was because of lack of food at your father's house, wasn't there?
She yelled about that, but there wasn't a lack of food at Dad's house.
Well, there was a time that your father left on vacation and the maid had to call your mother to buy food for the home, isn't that right?
I've heard about that, but that doesn't, I mean, she left money for groceries. I don't think that's how it happened. We had food. I think we ran out of money doing other things, and then maybe it was run out. I don't really know what happened. That was when Marika was there. I don't remember what happened, but I know Marika called Mom. I think Mom brought over lasagna or something.
Well,
But I don't know if Marika called her about food. I don't really know what happened between the two of them.
Well, do you remember testifying last time that you remember that money being spent on activities and groceries and that you ran out of money?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to any further questions. It's irrelevant.
Sustained is also consistent with what she just testified to.
Was there a time when were you aware of the boys having problems with food to eat in the morning before they went to school?
Objection, vacant is the time and irrelevant.
Sustained, present.
At the time that your father, the children, the boys were living with your father and separated from your mother, was there a time where there were complaints about not having breakfast food?
I still object, Your Honor. How many years before these murders did this occur?
Sustained as to time, but your presence for a while.
Your Honor, we heard she went into the whole area before this.
You can ask, just pin it down as the time. We talked about 1985, 1989, I don't know.
Well, I'll start with 1985.
Objection, irrelevant.
85 is irrelevant, sustained. Take it up to 89, start with 89.
In 1989, were you aware of complaints the boys didn't have food for breakfast or food for lunch?
I'm not aware of what Danny told Mom, but there was lots of breakfast food all the time. Millions of cereals.
Did you talk to the boys about that at all?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Were you present when the boys testified in court?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Your Honor, may I make an offer of proof as to the questions that were asked?
That's the court at the custody proceeding.
The questions that were asked, how did your father treat the boys?
They weren't asked for this witness, were they?
Yes, I believe they were.
They were asked for this witness. Go ahead. I thought you were talking about when the boys testified.
No.
Baker, do you think I would believe that Gabby would say such a thing? Of course she would say such a thing. I don't know if she said that. But it's kind of fitting. We got the church lady down there in front from Saturday Night Live, court reporter. And we've got a judge that I wish was still alive today on the bench. I'm assuming he's not alive today. He'd be probably 100 and something. Oh, that's a bad pause on the court reporter. Puddletown. We'll blame Puddletown. He's not here. And he left me a hairy sausage for the end of stream. So that's how it started, just so you know. I don't have anywhere to go with it. Except that court reporter's face was probably mine. Because I'm so innocent when I read that message Puddletown left me. Well, you were a very nice distraction for a minute because this Ben Stein lawyer is driving me up the wall. And he's asking, he still has not asked a relevant question. Gabby. Yes, a bit is something that goes into a horse's mouth. I'm not asking any further. If there was food in the house or there wasn't food in the house, if one house had furniture and the other house didn't, if dad went on vacation and they had to call mom, none of that leads to unaliving. None of it. I don't understand why he's being allowed to ask all these questions. I don't know what Baker's calling you. Baker, I hope they pan back out so you can see the live. Gabby is setting herself up for a Tijuana horse show joke. Ooh. I'm scared to ask. But the real life-size benders, they're over in the corner by the judge with arrows through them. You know.
Were you aware of Boyd's allegations as to?
Objection, Your Honor. He's asking about something that happened someplace else.
Sustained. The issue is not whether she's aware of any allegations. The issue is whether your client wasn't surveillance, so objection sustained.
Do you, did your mother cry about the wedding china?
Cry about it?
Yes.
I don't think, not to me. I don't think she cried about it.
You remember testifying that that might have been one of the things she cried about?
No.
Line 355, 14 to 15.
I'm sorry, counsel, I'm not sure. 355, did you say?
Yes.
I said I don't remember.
There's no question. I don't believe.
Did you read that?
Yeah, but I didn't say she did. I said I didn't remember.
Well, you also said that that might have been one of the things. Is that correct?
Mom never called me and cried about wedding china.
So that definitely.
She could have cried to somebody else. She might have cried about it. She didn't cry about it to me. I never heard Mom cry about it. She was mad about it. She wasn't sad about it.
Was there a time when there were some problems? Your mother was upset because were you charging food on your mother's account?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
While you were living with your father, were you charging food on your mother's account?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained.
Again, Your Honor, I make an offer for those reasons.
No, you can pin it down to time.
And after, when you were living with your father on Cyprus, your mother was living in ACA. During the time that your mother was expressing that she was upset and making tapes to your father and mad about things, during that time, were you charging food on your mother's account?
Objection, irrelevant.
Overruled, you can answer that.
Yes, Mom had an account at a supermarket in West Shores. When we'd be down at her house, we would charge food on her account.
That food wouldn't always be eaten at her house, would it?
Yeah, pretty much around her house. Well, we wouldn't go grocery shopping there. It was just for snacks or whatever. We didn't go get groceries and bring them home, if that's what you mean.
Well, if you were going someplace, you'd go from your father's, you were living at your father's, weren't you?
Yes.
And if you were going someplace, you would use your mother's account to buy snacks. She got upset.
Yes, but she also told us that we could use it sometimes. She changed her mind about that. Because she had all of our names on it at first, and then she took all of our names off of it, and then we didn't charge on it anymore. And she told us at the beginning that we could go use it.
In 1988 and 89, did you have a boyfriend named Tom?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustained.
I make it that, Your Honor, that is something I believe I need to make contact with Tom.
The name of her boyfriend?
Yes, that's just foundation, but I'll make contact with proof.
Okay, so some of you have said how, like, she's a spoiled brat. She may have been. I don't know. We don't know her personally. So she's rolling her eyes. That she, what else? I don't know what else you've said. Any of her reactions to this lawyer's line of questioning at this point, I understand. None of what he's asking has made any sense to the crime. She's not on trial. What she did, she's not on trial for. Well, because she didn't do anything. And all the stuff he's asking her about, well, is she blaming her or the fact that they maybe used their mom's account or that she had a boyfriend named, what did he just say, Tom? For her mom going over there and putting rounds in people? Just get to that. Let's get to that. Something. And I know they kind of got to build up and take you down the path. His path is all over the place, except for where it needs to go. And this poor girl, and it's just up here about ready to explode. And I don't blame her. I don't think she's necessarily trying to be disrespectful. I think she's just over it. Just get there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. maybe I don't have any patience today. I do. The answer is she did not lose her keys. She said that. It didn't lose the keys. I don't know how they could have had more than two people in a vet because vets are two-seaters. So I don't understand how he wasn't taking the family. That was dumb. It was a dumb question. I mean, listen, he had issues. They both had issues. I guess he doesn't have any issues anymore, but he still has issues, I think, from what I've heard or read. But this guy needs to just get going already. You could tell, but you could tell me, but then, I'm trying. I'm losing, but I'm trying.
Let's see what's this going. Go ahead, you can answer that. Did you have a boyfriend
Yes.
named Tom? Go ahead.
And did you have your conversations with your mother about Tom?
Objection, it's irrelevant.
You can answer that yes or no overrule.
Yes.
Did you tell your mother that Tom was spying on her house and was going to do something with people visiting her at her house? Your mother?
Absolutely not.
Did you talk to anybody about that?
No.
Have any knowledge that Tom was spying on your mother's house?
Tom was staying in a house above Mom's house, and he could see her house.
But there was no threats that you relayed to your mother or anyone else about your mother?
No, he said, I can see, I was telling him I was going out, he said, I can see your car pulling up to the house. He did not make any threats to come down and do anything to anybody at the house.
Was Tom calling your mother's house?
Yes.
Now, everyone at the house knew the rule that if the boys came over, if your mother came over to the house, she would get arrested, didn't it?
Objection, that's an incorrect statement of fact.
Sustained.
Well, they knew that if they came over without your father's permission, that your mother would get arrested, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. One, it's an incorrect statement, and two, it's irrelevant.
Sustained.
On which basis, John?
Both, it was in violation of a restraining order. No guarantee she'd be arrested.
Well, it was conveyed to your mother that the belief was that she would get arrested if she came over there.
Objection is beyond this witness's personal knowledge, and the defendant knew what the restraining order was.
Sustained.
The boys would encourage your mother to come in the house, would they not?
To come in the house, no. Not that I'm aware of. To come over and pick them up sometimes. One time, I think she's already in the house, and then Brett was showing her something up in his room. But I don't think that they told her to come over and come in the house.
Everyone was seeing a Dr. Sparta at that time, is that correct? Children, at
We
some point,
objection Vegas to time.
Sustained, just rephrase it.
1986.
Yeah, Lee and I went to him, I think only a few times. But the boys, I think they went a little longer. But we all went, I think, to 2 or 3 meetings, all 4 of us together.
And no one liked Dr. Sparta, did they?
Objection, that's irrelevant.
Sustained.
Not to make an offer of proof on that.
No, go to something else. Whether they like you or not, it's irrelevant.
Can I at least,
You make your offer of proof at the recess.
can I ask another question in that area?
Yes?
Was that conveyed to your mother that nobody liked Dr. Sparta?
Yes, I think it was. No one of us like psychologists, period. We didn't really want to go.
Now, in 1985, during the Christmas holidays, everybody went skiing, is that correct?
80, wait, what year did you say?
1985, Christmas of 1985.
Everyone meaning
Well,
2000.
did that, your father, the 4 children, and Linda went skiing, is that correct? And they went, you went to the family condo?
No.
Okay, where did you go?
Park City.
And was that for the whole Christmas vacation?
I think we were there for a week.
And you also, had you gone in October to your Uncle Larry's Oktoberfest party?
No.
Okay. Did your father go?
I don't know. I think so. I've never been to that.
Okay. The time that you indicated that sometimes your mother would not want to have visits with the children, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
There were times during holidays where the kids wanted to go skiing, isn't that right?
With whoever?
Yes, with whoever.
Yeah.
And during that time when your mom would say that, did your mom say that she was not going to stop the kids from going on a skiing vacation so that they'd have to sit home with her?
We could have gone skiing with Mom.
Well, your mom indicated that she didn't have the money to go skiing, didn't she?
Yeah.
And that she wouldn't stop the kids from going skiing if that's what they wanted to do?
Are you just speaking of 85 or all years? We didn't
No,
go
not
skiing on-
85, at other times.
I don't know. She didn't indicate that to me, but I think that's what she thought.
Now, the time when most of your family, extended family, lived out of state,
Yes.
and when your mother and father's family would visit, would your father be working a lot and stay away from those visits?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
This was gone into about isolation. You want me to bring it up to recess?
Yes. Why don't we take the recess this time? We're gonna be a while yet.
Probably, please.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our morning recess at this time. Please remember the admonition. We'll be in recess until 5 minutes to 11. Council want to wait behind. We'll take care of this stuff right now.
But his punishments weren't that bad. They weren't. I don't think they were scared about the punishments. They were just scared about being in trouble.
So do you remember saying Dad was mad and acted on it and it scared them?
Objection, Your Honor. It's vague as to when and where and what it was referring to.
Sustained.
But you remember being asked about how your dad, how the boys felt about your dad and how your dad punished the boys. Remember that?
Can you direct us to a page?
Your Honor, I'm asking about in the direct testimony. She talked about that.
Do you remember him asking, or Ms. Wells asking you that earlier this week?
About boys being punished.
Yes.
No. No, not about being punished.
Do you, were the boys scared when your father was mad and acted on it?
Objection, yes, ma'am.
Sustained.
You indicated that your mother at least one time went to Cyprus to get her clothes back.
Yes.
Hey, was it just one time?
One time I heard of.
But were there other times where your mother came over to get clothes? For instance, was there a time where she came over to get ski clothes?
That might have been the one time I was talking about. I don't know what clothes she was coming to get. She would come over. I don't know why she came over.
Do you remember an incident where she came over to get where you had taken her ski clothes and she came over to get them?
Surely I didn't take her ski clothes. She lent them to me.
Do you remember a time when she lent you her ski clothes and she came over to get her ski clothes back?
Not in particular, but that could have happened. I mean, yeah, I borrowed her ski clothes. She could have come back to get them. That could have been the time I was talking about. I don't remember what clothes she was coming to get the time that we were referring to about the picture.
That was in May, though. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. So that wouldn't have been about ski clothes.
You knew that when you would tell your mother things that were going on, it made her upset, didn't you?
Objection, Your Honor. Vague.
Sustained.
Well, when you told her about things that were going on at your father's house that you were upset about or you were mad about, you knew that would upset your mother, didn't you?
Well, she'd ask me about them, but that it eventually upset her.
You would
And I
never.
would get upset about anything, not necessarily just Dad's house. I talked to Mom about it.
And when you're an emotional person, is that right?
Sensitive.
And it was, you never went over to your mother and told her about things that were going on. It was only when she asked you.
No, I tell her about everything, and she'd ask me when she went to ask me, but it wasn't like she didn't want to hear them.
The time that the cake was spread around, did the Did Lee cry about that?
Yes.
Okay. You remember testifying before that Lee did not cry about that incident?
Lee was upstairs with Mom, and no, I don't remember testifying to that. But my recollection is Lee was very upset about the cake. But I don't know if I just know that from testimony last year, because I know somebody testified about the cake. I don't even know. I might just be confused about that. I don't know. I know somebody testified to that. I don't know if that's how I heard about Lee being upset about the cake.
Okay. So you don't remember now whether that's.
I'm trying to remember. Okay. I don't even think I was upstairs when the cake incident. But I know Lee was upset about the cake incident.
Well, you remember the interview with the district attorney on December 7th, don't you? About a month after.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember telling the district attorney that Lee really doesn't get upset about things and she doesn't cry, and you don't remember her crying about the cake.
I know.
I'm sorry, that's a compound question, and perhaps council could direct us to pages after that.
Page 15, lines 27 through 16. Line 10. And if I may approach the
Wait just a minute. We're getting some pretty strong gas fumes on this side of the room.
There's a gas leak outside, right outside the building.
It's outside the building?
Yeah.
Well, if Puddletown was here, I'd blame him, but he's not. That judge, he was a cute little guy. And I like the fact that when we hear objection, we actually get to know what they are instead of just sustained.
Yeah, she's got it all blocked off.
Okay, then we're safe in the courtroom here. Probably safer here than outside. Or we'll keep going then. I was just concerned there might be a internal gas leak in the courtroom here. Go ahead.
I have no idea.
No, Mr.
If you could,
It may have been our tears of boredom, Jenny. Well, not boredom. That wouldn't be the right word. It may have been our tears of just because we were pleading with this attorney to stop asking the most irrelevant questions ever. I know, can you imagine? Oh, that's hilarious, Tracy. That was your, that's so funny. That he called you back and he lectured you on giving him a prank phone call. What's up, Ronnie? Good to see you. Oh my gosh. I was getting ready to say, I was sitting here wishing I could call the court just to say, can you tell this guy just to Yeah, hope he got more lucky than the attorney that we saw testify last week, because he never got paid by Betty or anyone. So he's still waiting for his check. There was no money. All right. I must have been traveling during this part of the trial because I don't remember it at all.
read to yourself on lines 27 through 28, page 15 and 16 through line 2.
Hello there.
Mhm.
And is it true that Lee is not someone who cries?
She doesn't cry very much, but she was upset about the cake. I don't know if she actually cried.
Okay, but during your interview, you indicated you didn't believe she cried. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it's true that the vandalism was not something that affected the children very much, was it?
No, that's totally untrue.
The do you remember the district attorney in that interview asking you directly how this affected the boys, and you indicating that they thought it was stupid, it didn't affect them very much?
No, I don't recall saying that. You just said the children. And then the long-term effects of all the children, it affected us all very much.
Okay. Have you talked to anybody about your testimony and making sure that you answer more than the question to try to get things in?
No.
Do you remember being asked that question by the district attorney? If you could read to yourself
You
lines
have a page
16, line 3.
I'm sorry, Council, what page?
3 through 10, line 16.
What page?
What page?
Oh, I'm sorry, page 16, lines 3 through 10.
This is an interview from December of '89, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you indicate at that time that you didn't talk about long-term effects, did you then?
No.
Okay. And did you indicate that they were that it didn't affect us much?
I believe there I was referring to things like the spray painting on the cake. Those things, when they happened, began not to affect us much because they happen often. Things about like the car and the clothes, the bigger incidents, those did affect us. You just said vandalizing and all, I thought you meant all those things.
Okay. So the instances that bothered you were the clothes and the car, the other instances.
No, they bothered us, but they didn't. We just kind of cleaned up the mess and went on with things.
There was no time that you remember your mother pulling Christmas wrappings off the presents, was there?
No.
And there was no time that you knew about your mother putting flyers on cars, did you?
No.
And would the boys encourage your mother to come in the house to see things like presents they might have or things they had set up?
Objection answered.
Well, you're on the crossbed, you can answer that.
Well, if she was already in the house, I don't think they'd encourage her to come over and see them. I don't think they would do that. I don't remember them doing that, but if she was already there, I know that they would like her to come up to the rooms and see things. And they'd show her things.
So once she was at the house, then they would encourage her to come in sometimes to see things.
Or sometimes they'd say, oh, I got this, oh, I got that. Maybe, but I don't think they'd say, why don't you come over and see it? Because she wasn't supposed to do that.
Your mother still asks about what you're doing and what your friends are doing, doesn't she?
Yes.
Now, on the interview on 11/9/89, did you tell the district attorney that in the first conversation you had with your mother, that her voice was quivering? And she said something about when you were crying for you to stop because you were making her cry?
Objection, Your Honor. This has been gone into it afterwards.
Sustained.
Well, I would like to, I have not shown her a transcript from that hearing and asked her if that's true, Your Honor. She's denied it.
No, she didn't.
That's not how I recall her testimony, but if you want to show her the transcript, go ahead.
If we agree that her testimony is consistent with that, that's fine.
I'm not making any finding of fact on her testimony, Mr. Early. If you want to show her the transcript, go ahead. If you don't, that's fine.
Okay. Now, the first conversation, that's when your mother was telling you to calm down, is that correct?
I don't remember what happened in the first conversation and the second conversation.
Oh, you don't?
Not specifically. No, I don't.
You don't remember whether your mother's voice was quivering or not in that?
Sometime it was quivering. I don't remember which conversation.
And do you remember telling the district attorney it was in the first conversation when your mother was telling you to calm down?
Yes. But now to date, I can't remember if it was the first or second.
You remember your mother telling you not to cry, this was making her cry?
Yes.
Remember whether that was in the first or the second conversation?
No, but no, I don't remember specifically, but I'm not sure that I was crying in the first conversation, so that might have been the second conversation.
Now, you know that your mother wanted to have the boys, didn't you?
Yes.
And had you and you thought she was a good mother when she was with the boys, but that she was not a good mother over the phone, is that right?
Sometimes.
Well, do you remember being asked by the district attorney, did you think that she was a good mother or not? And your answer was, when she was with them, yes, but when she wasn't over the phone and things, no?
Can counsel please give me a cite?
Page 36.
What are you referring to?
Oh, I'm sorry, the 11-9 interview, page 36, 4 through 7.
Your Honor, I would just ask if counsel would please give me a cite of what he's referring to before he reads it. That's inappropriate.
Okay, Mr. Early, could you do that in the future, please? Go ahead.
Page 36, line 1.
4 through 7.
I'm sorry, can you ask me the question again?
Do you remember being asked a question by the district attorney about being asked directly whether your mother was a good mother?
I don't really remember anything in particular about that conversation, but yeah, she probably asked me that. And I probably said yes.
And that's still your feeling it was over the phone where she would use inappropriate language?
Objection, Your Honor. She hasn't been shown the statement, and that's not a complete statement.
Sustained.
John, I'm not asking her the statement, I'm asking her present memory.
What's your present memory?
If she was a good mother, if she used foul language.
Did she use foul language over the phone or only in person, or what
Both.
did she use it?
Both. She used foul language both times.
Okay. If you could read 2 through 7.
I would ask that she read 2 through 12.
2 through 12.
Two through 16.
Okay. Why? Would you want me to answer the question?
Literally ask you a question.
Okay.
Other than times that your mother was talking in negative terms about your father, did you think she was a good mother?
Sometimes. I still feel sometimes.
That's not what you answered at the time, was it?
Well, I just went on about it longer, but basically, she had them on weekends and things. They weren't there for a long period of time. Sometimes they'd be over there and everything would go great for the weekend. Sometimes she'd have them there for a couple hours and they'd be back home. Sometimes she was in a good mood. Sometimes she was in a bad mood. So sometimes she was a great mother and other times she was a terrible mother.
Was Lee scared of your father?
When she was bad, yeah, she was scared about getting yelled at. I don't know what you mean by scared. I mean, we didn't like to get in trouble. But that's it. When Lee got in trouble at school, she was scared about
When your
Dad finding out.
When your sister was 17, your father took her out of the well, didn't she?
I don't know how.
Objection, no, that's, assumes facts not known.
Sustained.
Well, your father took Lee out of the well, didn't she?
Objection, it assumes facts not known, so it's not relevant, it's out of context.
Well, you can ask her if she has personal knowledge of that.
Yes,
The answer is yes, you have personal knowledge, and you took her out of the well.
yes.
When you were asked the question of why Lee referring to the interview of 11/9/89, line 13, page 13, line 26, through the next page, 14, line 3. Do you remember being asked why Lee did not like her father?
Objection, Your Honor, it's irrelevant.
Sustained.
No, the question was asked, did
Yes, in an interview in 1989, it hadn't been asked in this. Testified it was not so far.
no, I'll give you the exact quote of the question about the relationship.
Go ahead.
Maybe do it at some part then.
Sure. Come on up.
Do you remember a incident at Cypress about breaking a window and calling the police?
Objection, irrelevant.
Well, Vegas at times is seen on that background.
In 1988, you remember an incident about breaking a window and calling the police?
Objection, irrelevant.
Sustained, but you can go to that area and give us a little more detail. Who allegedly broke the window?
You remember Kim being present when you were there, and you and your friends broke a window and you called the police reporting a burglary because you were afraid of your father?
Absolutely not.
Do you remember a scratch on your father's desk?
Yes. There's a bunch of scratches on my father's desk.
Okay, but you don't remember anything about a scratch and it getting fixed real quick so that there wouldn't be problems?
No.
the, the time that you indicated that you thought you heard the car and it sounded like a chainsaw, you didn't hear your father screaming at all?
Objection, Your Honor, he's already asked these.
Well, this is only the second time through. He's uncrossed. Go ahead.
I remember Dad's yelling something when he first went out there, but then when I didn't hear Dad say anything, it was when Mom was saying, yelling to me. There were no sounds from Dad, so I didn't know what happened to him. I heard him say something when he first ran out, and then I didn't hear anything else from him.
Did you think that he was getting cut up by a chainsaw?
I don't know what I thought. I just didn't know what happened to him. It sounded like a chainsaw. I don't know. Then I didn't really know what happened.
Well, do you remember, and this is again, November 9th, 1989, page 23, lines 23 through 24. You remember telling the district attorney that you thought your mother was chainsawing your father to death?
That's what I initially thought when I thought it was a chainsaw. When I was down in the canyon, I didn't know what I thought.
Okay. So originally at some time you thought that you heard your father screaming and thought your mother was chainsawing him to death?
No, because I only heard him scream the first time, so I figured I don't know what I figured. No, I did not think she chainsawed him to death when I came back up from the canyon. So.
You can read yourself page 23, lines 23 through the 26.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember telling the district attorney that you heard your dad screaming and you thought she was chainsawing to death?
Yes, that's what I thought at first. Then when I came back from the canyon, I didn't think that anymore because I had not heard anything after the initial scream and then there wasn't the noise anymore.
Okay. So it's
After the car came back in and then there was no noise from the car, there was no noise from Dad, it was just Mom.
So when you ran down so your testimony is that your thought as you were running down the canyon is that he was being chainsawed to death?
Your Honor, I'm going to object again under 765 of the Evidence Code. I believe that it's inappropriate for counsel to keep going over and over the same areas that he's gone over before, and I think the court has to go over that.
And I believe if she changes her mind, I have the right to go into the cross-examination.
Sustained. The jury's recollection is what counts. I don't recall that she's changed her mind. She's given you the same answers several times.
Okay. At the time that incident took place, you remember your mother yelling about that her only asset with her name on it in the world was sold?
She didn't say her only name. After with the name on it, she said the house. The house is being sold.
Well, she talked about not selling it, and she had nothing left in the world, and it was the only thing with her name on it, didn't she?
I don't think she told me it was the only thing with her name on it. She said she didn't want the house to be sold.
she say that she didn't want it to be sold because it had her name on it? And she had nothing left in the world.
I did not know that her name wasn't on anything else.
Okay, but I'm just
So-
asking, when you're sitting there listening to her that day,
Well, if I had heard her say that one, then I would have thought her name wasn't on anything else. So I didn't hear her say that.
Okay.
I still don't know if her name was on anything else.
on the November 9th interview, page 38,
Oh, just a needed break. Gav, that's hilarious. Adair, I'm sorry, it's hailing on your car. Please keep the hail over at your place. But why? She was a child. Why would she know who's, like, would she even understand what it meant to have her mom's name on something or not on something? She may, as a child, I mean, I was at her age there, she probably would understand. I mean, she might have meant, like, I just need to write mom's name on it and wrote her on the wall. Wouldn't be, mom was already vandalizing the house anyway. He does make the chainsaw, you know, a suspecting chainsaw event happening. He makes it unexciting. Oh, my gosh, this guy makes my head hurt. I assume you were talking about if he was interrogating you for the government, you would just be sitting at the table for like 25 minutes making a cup of tea, staring at it for about 10 of it, looking at a piece of paper and saying nothing. I mean, oh my gosh. He keeps trying to impeach her, but not on anything of importance. You know, remember when you could win Ben Stein's money? Ben Stein would have given this guy all his money just to make him shut up. Like, just here, take it. It's all right there. You just took in a leave? I don't blame you. I'm trying to I'm just gonna, like, stay awake, stay awake. I feel like she looks. That's how I know that, I know a lot of you don't like her, but man, I probably would have been just as sassy as her back then. Like, shut up, dude, just stop. Look, my mom unalived my dad. The end. I'm sorry. Eeyore is the worst. He is the worst. Like, he just makes me tired listening to him. But yes, he does make Eeyore look like Richard Simmons. He's going to make us all sweat to the oldies. All right. Okay, we've reset. We're good. All right. Hope. Oh, we're almost an hour. Almost an hour through this. Oh gosh, Ronnie, don't tell him that. We'll have to look it up to see if that's what he's to see if that's really what he's doing and talk about it. I hope you like a thong up your butt. I do not. Sorry if that was more than information than you needed to know about me, but I don't. So there we go.
and 39. Lines 27 through 8. If you could read those to yourself.
Okay.
Do you remember your mother saying something about it being her only asset in the world?
No. It had her name on it. I didn't say anything about having no more assets.
Did you say that there was some reason that he sold it so that she had nothing left in the world? Remember saying that?
No, she said I have nothing left in the world.
That's what I'm saying. That's just all she said. I'm just asking you what she said. Did she say that that was one of the things she said, that he sold it, she was upset, she had nothing left in the world?
Yes, I think that she said that.
Okay.
But I didn't understand that anything about names on anything. I didn't understand that part.
The, is it true that you wished your father would give you more money, but you never had guts to ask him?
At first, when I
Objection, Your Honor, it's irrelevant.
Sustained.
It would go with my last offer of proof, Your Honor.
Overruled. Excuse me, still sustained.
Did you have problems asking your father for things?
Objection, irrelevant.
Oh, you can answer that yes or no.
sometimes. Oh, I have to answer yes or no?
No, you can say sometimes.
You indicated that your mother, as things would happen, would write things in the diary, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And it's your testimony that you never said anything to her about the way Linda would dress in front of the children?
When did I? What are you talking about?
The way,
About the lingerie?
yes.
No, I never said anything to Mom about that.
Something was been marked as huge for identification. Do you recognize the handwriting in that?
Yes, it's my mom's.
Does that appear to be the kind of writing she did in her diary?
Yes.
And she mentions the,
Objection, hearsay. All this witness can do is identify that writing as of her knowledge.
Sustained.
you indicated that your mother, that there was no problem that you knew about your mother having her accounts overdrawn and no money
Objection, they,
in 1985,
Overruled.
86.
Overruled. Okay.
Her accounts may have been overdrawn, but that wasn't because Mom didn't have money. I mean, maybe she didn't have money in the accounts anymore at the end of the month, but she had some in the beginning of the month.
Was there complaints about in 85 when they were, both your father's and your mother's complaints about your father using the accounts to purchase things for Linda and leaving her in an overdrawn state?
objection, Your Honor, it assumes the facts not in evidence and it's hearsay.
Sustained.
Show you are for identification.
Counsel, may I see?
Oh, sorry. Do you recognize the handwriting in
For the record, is R a one-page document?
R is a one-page document?
Do I recognize it as Mom's writing?
Yes.
Yes.
the, were there times in, that your mother would complain because your father would be gone away on vacation, but would not allow her to have custody of the children in 1985?
Objection, irrelevant. 1985.
Overruled. You can answer that, do you know?
I don't understand. Do you mean if mom would complain of that?
Yes.
Yes, mom complained of that.
Okay, and was it that something that happened?
Well, I don't think that's the exact circumstances. Because sometimes when dad would go out on vacation and he would say that mom could have the kids, then she'd say she didn't want to be a babysitter. But she wasn't going to babysit while he went off and did all these things.
And there was, in 85, there was a problem when Thanksgiving Day was there not?
I don't remember. If you could tell me more circumstances around it, maybe I'd remember, but I really don't remember what happened on Thanksgiving and Christmas every year.
Do you remember going over to your mother's house in a taxi?
Your Honor, again, I'm sorry, I'm going to object to the relevance of what might have happened on Thanksgiving Day in 1985.
Well, I don't need an offer of proof, Mr. Early. I can't tell from your question whether it's relevant or not. Or that she took a taxi to her mother's house for Thanksgiving?
Yes, there was,
I object to an offer of proof before the jury.
All right, come on up.
Did you ever read your mother's diaries?
Some pages. I never read them all.
and
If it was lying on a table and I saw it, then that's the only time I would see it.
Okay, when you say you read some pages, can you give me an estimate? Was it 5 pages, 10 pages, or was it over the years you'd read a page here and a page there?
Over the years, read a page here and a page there.
And was it from different volumes of it, same volume, do you know?
I have no idea. I don't know how many volumes she had or anything.
And did your mother's house have lots of legal papers around it?
Yeah, she had boxes and bunches of stuff. All kinds of things.
And did the, you've taken shooting lessons, have you not?
No, I didn't take shooting lessons. I went to camp and we shot at a target for an hour or two.
Well, you went to, at some point in time, somewhere you took some shooting lessons where you became accredited by the NRA, did you not?
They just give those things to all the kids. No, they weren't lessons. There wasn't anyone instructing us. They just gave us a gun and then we shot at this hay thing with a target in it.
So your memory is you went to a camp where there was no instructors, they gave you a gun and you shot at hay.
Your Honor, I object to
No.
the relevance.
It's the same.
Not make an offer. That is at least mark an exhibit.
As to whether or not she ever had shooting, this witness ever had shooting lessons?
Yeah.
No. That's, the objection's sustained.
The,
I don't blame him, Daddy
do
Short
you
Nuts.
recall an incident with coming over and talking to your mother where you were very upset that you were having problems at school and you found out about it, being copied a letter from your father to your brother, to his brother?
Your Honor, I object as to the relevance.
Well, I'm not sure the relevance of it. This is different, Mr. Early, than the letter to the mother and father. You're talking about something else?
Yes.
Go ahead, you can answer that. Yes or no?
Am I aware of it? I'm aware of a letter.
Did you talk to your mother about being upset about a letter that you received where your dad's way of letting you know how he was doing in school was being copied with a letter that was sent to your uncle?
I think I was in Ohio when that happened, and I think I talked to Mom on the phone about that. I think if that's what I'm thinking of.
In January of 1987, what grade were you in?
Oh, no, then that's different. That,
What was the question?
I may show you the letter. Have you seen this letter before?
For the record, that's defendant's.
T, a letter dated January 20, 1987.
2 pages.
2 pages.
yes, I've seen it before.
And were you upset because your father was communicating to you by sending you copies of correspondence to other people?
I would say that he didn't talk to me, but I knew why he wrote the letter to Uncle Larry. I wish he had talked to me about it, and then he could have still written this letter to Uncle Larry. But I didn't like it that it was a letter. I would have rather that he had spoken to me about it. But he did basically. I basically knew it was coming.
Were you upset when you were talking to your mother about it?
I don't remember in particular, but I'm sure that I was.
I have no further questions.
Good timing. We'll take our noon recess at this time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be in recess until 1:30. Please remember the admonition. Have a nice lunch.
Hallelujah. He said he had no further questions. It's a miracle. We survived. I was just sitting here thinking, I was looking so forward to the daughter's testimony. It has turned out to be nothing. I can't. Okay. I can't even with you guys tonight. Yes, leave the attorney in the cafeteria. And the state, she's like skinny. She doesn't eat. Honestly, she looks very good. I should not say mean things. I take it back. Yeah, I don't know, Shani. Some of the questions they have asked her, this guy asked her over and over and over and over and over again. He wanted her to be an adult in that situation where she wasn't, and he wanted her to know things that she shouldn't know, and she had no business knowing. And then when she was like, I don't know, it's like, well, didn't you say this? I don't know. But then also I kind of, yeah, I was at recess with Daddy Short. Yes, we were all skinny back then. She looks good. She's not too skinny. I think she's looked very good in her clothes I don't know how to say it. I'll just stop. She's had cute clothes too. For the day, for anybody comes at me. Hey, little one, how you doing? Perfect timing, because the defense finally just stopped asking questions. Back to the state. Maybe we'll get some good questions. Not responding.
Regardless of whether or not you were aware of the specific orders of court or the agreements between your parents, Is it true that your mother did have visitation with all of you?
Yes.
And that was not an uncommon in her diary. Any entries about your father attempting to give her the boys and her refusing because she didn't want to be his babysitter.
Thank you, Daddy Shortnuts. Between you and Adair, you both have just made my night. Thank you. Oh, there, little one. They're just behind the attorney's puffy hair. They're there. Oh, Mr. Gabby's a saint. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. He's a saint. But for no. Oh, Guy Shorten. Hey, and my anniversary is in June as well. But it is now forgotten because now it is Mad Dog's birthday. So my husband and I will be the only ones to remember it from here on out. And that's okay. Oh no, nobody stole the mannequins. They are there, I assure you. And the judge was into his decanter very early. Very early. Okay, let's go. Oh, sorry. I just saw the pattern on her dress. I'm embarrassed to say this. I had pants that had that pattern on them. They were stirrup pants. Remember those? Can't unsee it now.
I don't know about entries in the diary about it. I just know she said it to me.
So there were times that he would offer the boys, allow them to go over to visit, and she would refuse to take them. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Counsel asked you about a little bit about your father and a closet door incident, him getting angry at a closet door. Was that something? Can you give us some perspective on that? Was that something that just all of a sudden happened, or what?
Well, it was on a sliding. It was on like a sliding thing. It had wheels on the bottom, and it kept falling off, and wheels on the top. And it was in Danny Red's room, and it fell off all the time. And then the whole door would go into the closet. And so then it was. I think this time the wheel actually fell off, and then he picked it up and took it out to the balcony, and then threw it off the balcony.
And what about this motorcycle?
Your Honor, could we just ask the audience to please refrain from commenting on the evidence?
I don't think they commented. I heard a snicker or laugh. I didn't hear any comments. If anybody in the audience is commenting on the evidence, please don't do that.
With respect to the motorcycle, he got angry at a motorcycle once. Did that just come out of the blue, or had something happened before?
Well, he got the motorcycle either for his birthday or for Christmas, and then it had been wrecked repeatedly. I think first he crashed into a curb, and then Mom crashed it into something, and then I crashed it the day he got it back from that. And then that's the day that he took it in the garage. Because he just gotten it home, and then he said I could take it around the block. I took it around the block, and I was going around the circle, and then it like fell like this. So then he took it in the garage, and then he did whatever he did to it, and then took it down the street.
Okay. So it had just come back from being fixed, and that had
Right.
happened on a couple of times, and then you took it out and wrecked it again.
Right. So he had pretty much enough of the motorcycle.
And you indicated that you never knew what he ultimately did with it. It wasn't something that he did in front of the kids. He just somehow got rid of the motorcycle.
We went up in the balcony and saw him walking it down the street, and then he came back and it wasn't with him anymore. So
Was that something that you all laughed about?
we asked him what he did with it over and over. Because it disappeared. But he wouldn't tell us.
Did your father ever throw Rhett down the stairs?
No.
Would Rhett sometimes say things to your mother about your dad that weren't true?
Yes, he did.
And why would he do that?
Your Honor, objection calls for conclusion, speculation.
Sustained.
Well, what would your mother's response be when she would say, when the boys or you would say things like that about your dad? Would she like to hear those things?
Yeah, she liked to hear those things.
Did she like to hear when you or the boys would say something nice about your dad?
No.
Would she get angry when you'd say something nice about your dad?
Yes, you just, no, she didn't want to hear anything nice about Dad or Linda.
And I take it that your mom didn't have any concerns or didn't express any concerns about your dad being abusive to any of you when she dropped you off and left you with him. Is that correct?
No.
There was a time that you indicated that you were aware of way back in 1986 where your dad was deducting some money from your mother because of the things that she was doing.
Yes.
What was it? Was he just angry about the fact that she would say a bad word, or were there other things that he was concerned about?
Other things. It was, I know he deducted money when she would vandalize the house for repairs, and then the bad words, but I don't think he really cared if Mom used bad words. He just didn't want them around us.
Was he concerned?
I don't think that he had any control of whether she used them elsewhere, but he just didn't want them on his machine with us around.
Was he concerned about how those things were affecting you and the boys and Lee?
Yes.
Was he concerned about your mother attempting to force you all to hate him?
Yes, he
Your Honor,
was.
objection.
Sustained.
Did he have any concerns about what your mother was doing as far as their feelings towards yours or their feelings towards him or Linda?
Yes, he was very concerned about that.
And during that time, before there was a court order for support, were you aware that your dad was voluntarily paying support to your mother?
Yes.
He was at the time paying all of her expenses, her mortgage, her insurance, her medical payments, her car payments, all of that stuff.
Right. I know he gave her a monthly check, and then I know that he made the house payment and the car payment and insurance payments. And for a while, I know he paid credit card payments.
There was never anybody that ever showed up at your mom's house to repossess her cars or her furniture or her house, I think.
No.
The night that you indicated that your mom dropped Red off in the middle of the night with an earache, do you know, did she ever explain why she came over and just dropped him off in the middle of the night when he was sick?
No. I have no idea why.
So I take it she had Red at the time. She had visitation with Red.
Your Honor, objection. It's leading and it misstates the evidence.
Sustained. Just rephrase it.
Did she have visitation with Red at the time? With Red staying with her?
Your Honor, objection misstates the evidence. She's already testified she doesn't remember the earache.
Well, she asked her, well, that question didn't have to do with an earache. It had to do with whether or not she had visitation with Red at the time. Do you know?
Yes, she did.
That's another question.
Did you ever hear your mom say anything to Danny or Rhett about being too embarrassed to tell people she knew them?
She said that on the phone machine. I heard her say that. I heard a message from her that said that.
Was that something that was upsetting to the boys?
Yes.
Now, would your mother leave these messages only after she called and called and called and couldn't get through, and then she'd leave these messages, or would she leave them sometimes first thing off the bat?
It all varied. It all depended on, I don't even know what it depended on. It varied. Sometimes she'd call repeatedly and then leave a message. Sometimes she'd out of the blue, she'd leave a message. Just all different occasions.
So it didn't.
Sometimes it was because of somebody's voice on the machine she didn't like. Sometimes it had nothing to do with the voice on the machine. They're all different. There wasn't any rule of thumb.
All different things that she was angry about.
Right.
And did your dad ever have any problems when she would call and leave a message that was a regular message?
No.
And you indicated that the message tape would have all the various messages that were left on it. Is that correct?
Right.
So whoever was calling in and leaving messages, there'd be messages on there.
Right.
And sometimes those tapes would include some messages from your mother.
Right.
And you're not aware of, or not of whether or not some of those original tapes have been turned over to the defense or in the possession of Elizabeth Broderick?
No. I don't know what I don't know what was done with them once that happened.
Was it common to reuse that tape?
Yes.
So it would stay on the machine and messages would be left over old messages?
Right.
You indicated that your mother did call often over to your dad's house at Cypress. Is that correct?
Yes.
Sometimes, many times a day?
Yes.
And sometimes, was there a fair amount of upset after her conversations with the children?
Yes.
Was there also a period of time where you had some hang-up calls in the middle of the night?
Yes, there was. That's why Dad turned off the ringers or took the phone away in the middle of the night. He did that almost every night. After everyone would go to sleep and then he just put it back in the morning.
Because there had been some hang-up calls in the middle of the night.
Right.
Now, you talked about the fact that there were two phones in your house. One was the basic family phone and one was your dad's phone in the office.
Right.
That didn't ring very much.
Yes.
And your dad would receive phone calls as well from the family phone, is that correct?
Yes.
So if somebody wanted to call the Broderick house and they looked it up in the phone book, that would be the number that they'd call.
Right. That's one that was listed. Not very many people knew the other one.
You described an evening where you went out with your dad and Mr. Monahan, who was a friend of your dad's, and all the kids. Do you remember that?
I think it was just Lee and I.
Okay. But it included Mr. Monahan's kids?
Yes.
And was there anything inappropriate that your dad did when you guys were all out for pizza?
No. Not that I remember. We just went out to pizza.
Was he drinking and drunk?
No.
And when your mother threw the stereo at him, how soon was that after he opened the door?
Almost immediately.
So if there had been some problem, she wouldn't have known about it. I mean, she didn't have time to discuss things.
Right. By the time I walked in, the stereo was already on the ground.
Counsel asked you about your dad's drinking. Was your dad an alcoholic?
No.
Did your dad drink alcohol?
Yes.
How would you describe how he drank or when he drank?
Well, occasionally on the weekends. On the weekends he'd go out with his friends and drink. But he'd come home drunk, usually. On St. Patrick's Day, he'd drink a lot. When he'd come home from work, he didn't drink. Just varied, but mostly on, I guess, St. Patrick's Day was the only time I saw him drunk.
Would you classify him as a social drinker? I mean, he'd drink with his friends and he'd party with his friends.
Right.
And in fact, you got a driving under the influence conviction. Were you aware that was on a St. Patrick's Day?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay. Was St. Patrick's Day a big day in the Broderick family?
Yes, it was.
Would a lot
Still
of, I'm sorry?
It still is.
Would a lot of your dad's relatives come out and visit and they'd party?
Yes.
I think you were also asked a question about, you're driving the MG and your mother screaming about problems with the MG. Was there anything related to your dad in there? Was your dad the cause of any problems with the MG?
No.
Your mother was just angry because you were driving the MG?
Yes.
And ultimately, she decided to buy you a car, is that correct?
Yeah. But that was before I drove the MG.
Okay, so she bought you a car before you drove the MG.
I drove the MG after I didn't have the car she got me anymore.
What happened to the car that she got you?
I crashed it about a month afterward. I rear-ended somebody, and then Dad paid to get it fixed, and then Mom said that, well, he can pay for the car. But Dad said that he wouldn't buy us cars until we graduated from college. So then it got repossessed.
Is it fair to say that your dad wanted you to have some responsibility as far as money was concerned?
Yes.
He didn't want to just buy you anything you wanted.
No.
And what about going to school? You indicated that you went to the college in Arizona, is that correct?
Yes.
Did your dad pay for your tuition?
Yes, he did.
Did he pay for your room and board?
He paid for the apartment and for the bills. My roommate and I just had the bills sent to our parents, and they paid for electricity and water and gas. And then we got allowance for phone and entertainment and food.
So, but basically your dad was paying all the bills.
Right. Except the phone. I was supposed to pay that.
Is that where you got into trouble with getting a big phone bill?
Yes.
Now, you've indicated that you had 2 conversations with your mother on November the 5th, the day that your dad and Linda were killed.
Yes.
And during one of those conversations, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you indicated that either your mother or Lee, you can't remember now, somebody told you that your dad had said, okay, you shot me, I'm dead.
Yes. One of them said that. I just don't remember which conversation or who said it.
And, well, if it came from Lee, obviously it'd come from your mother.
Right.
too.
I had said, if it came from Lee, then I'd asked her if he said anything, and she said, Mom said, he said this.
Now, do you know when he supposedly said that in relation to when your mother pulled the phone out of the wall?
Not in relation to when Mom pulled the phone out of the wall, but as she was leaving, she heard him say that.
As she was leaving the room, she heard him say, okay, you shot me, I'm dead.
Right. She didn't say as I was leaving, I don't think. Lee might have said as she was leaving. I can't remember Mom saying as. I'm sorry. Okay.
Start your answer again, please.
What was the question again?
As she was leaving the room, she heard him say, okay, you shot me, I'm dead.
Okay. And Lee might have said as she was leaving. Mom had told her that. But it was pretty much just the whole gist of what I thought had happened.
In that conversation, did your mother say anything about your dad yelling, call the police?
No.
Did she say anything about Linda yelling, call the police?
No.
Did she say anything about anybody yelling, call the police?
No, no one said anything else except that.
Did she say anything about it being an accident, or she didn't mean it to happen?
No.
You also indicated, I think, that, are you doing okay? I'm almost done.
Okay.
That you erased some of the messages that your mother left on the phone, right?
Yes, I got them first.
So if Danny and Rex maybe didn't get some messages from your mother, you had erased some of them.
Right.
And that's,
Or I would have gotten them and maybe forgotten to give them to him.
now did you erase, are we talking about just regular messages that she would leave? or-
No, if she had left obscene messages, then I would try and erase them. I would erase them before Dad came home or rewind the machine so that someone would take over it. But normal messages I would just get, and then maybe, I know I didn't always give them to everybody.
And the actual answering machine, your dad had taken out at a period of time, right?
Yes. And then he agreed that I could have it back if it was put in my room.
So he, as far as he was concerned, he just didn't want to hear the messages at all. If he was trying to collect messages, he wasn't trying to collect them anymore at that point, right?
Right.
And it was only at your insistence that he put the machine back on the phone?
Right.
And do you know whether or not your mother got mad when she found out he took the answering machine out?
Yes, because because if we weren't home, or she figured that was pretty much the only way she could get in touch with us most of the time.
So she was angry, I'm sorry.
Because we weren't home all that often.
So when the machine was on, if she was angry, she'd leave
Your
these
Honor,
messages?
objection is leaving and ask and answer.
It's the same.
Yeah, you also mentioned, I think, that sometimes you were not allowed to take phone calls during dinner. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, was that just an across-the-board rule? You weren't allowed to take phone calls from anybody?
Right.
So it wasn't directed towards your mother?
Well, we were supposed to turn down the machine so we couldn't hear the volume either. We weren't supposed to, and the ringer if it was in the kitchen. No phone calls during dinner, any of them. We weren't supposed to know who was calling during dinner.
Okay, so it just didn't want to be interrupted with phone calls during dinner?
Right.
And did that happen also when you were doing homework?
Well, for a while we had phone hours, but no, that really didn't happen when we were doing homework.
Well, did the phone hours, did it have anything to do specifically with your mother, or were those just general
No,
times?
general times, because my sister and I would fight about the phone all the time.
You like to talk on the phone a lot?
Yeah. Not anymore, but I used to.
You indicated that you, as far as you recollect, that you had never lost your keys to your dad's house before, right?
Right.
You were asked the question, maybe you could have lost some car keys before, right?
I don't remember losing car keys, but maybe I could have.
Was there some concern by your dad about keys being lost, or your mother being in possession of the key to his house?
Well, somebody lost keys at one time because we had all the locks changed.
And why?
So there was some key of Dad's floating around because he thought Mom might have the key. So we had all the locks changed on all the doors.
So he was concerned about your mother having a key to the house?
Yes.
You were also asked some questions about your feelings about your mother's treatment of your dad, that you didn't think was particularly good. Was that only in the last couple of years of their marriage, or are you talking about from the time as far back as you can remember?
As far back as I can remember.
You're talking about when you were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old.
Right. It didn't just all start when I was around 15. It was a long time ago.
And with respect to your mother, or the allegation of your mother putting a ski in the door, do you know whether or not your mother has admitted doing that?
I've heard something about a ski in the door since then. I don't know where I've heard about it, or if Mom said she did it or anything.
Okay. So you don't recall whether or not your mother specifically told you that she had done that?
No.
Counsel asked you if there had been any problems with any housekeepers that your dad hired. Were you aware of any problems with those housekeepers in relation to your mother?
Yes.
That they-
Some of them didn't get along with Mom.
And did that have anything to do, as far as you knew, with them stopping their employment?
Yes.
It didn't have to do with not getting along with your dad, it had to do with not getting along with your mother?
Right. The first one, Ginger, we didn't like. That's why he got rid of that one.
And you talked about that there were times when your dad had hired security guards. And Was that something that he just did for fun because he liked to have security guards out there?
No, it was when he was nervous about something. Or when he thought something might happen. We didn't have him all the time.
Right. And you had indicated that when he did it the first time, it was after your mother had driven the car through the door.
Right.
Was it after another time when she had attacked him with some keys?
I don't remember. I don't know.
It was after some times when she had just come into the house unannounced when she wasn't supposed to be there?
Your Honor, objection.
Stand. It's just a phrase.
Were there concerns by your father in relation to your mother coming into the house unannounced when she wasn't supposed to be there?
Yes, we had already moved out of Coral Reef. This is when we never had security guards at Coral Reef. We had them at Cypress after the stuff had happened at Coral Reef and after the car had been through the house. Then when things would occur where he thought Mom might do one of those things, then he would get security guards.
Counsel asked you some questions about your dad and his decision and his thinking about giving custody of Danny and Rhett to your mother right before his murder.
Yes.
And was it your impression from your discussions with him that he was getting rid of Danny and Rhett because he was thinking about having a new family with Linda?
No, he did not expect for that to last. He expected that if he just said, okay, go ahead, then they'd be back soon. That then maybe everyone would just quit yelling at him all the time.
And that was based on past history with your mother giving them back?
Your Honor, objection is leading.
Sustain.
Well, was it your understanding your dad didn't go into court and say, hey, I want to get rid of Danny and Rhett, did he?
No.
Your Honor, I object as leading and it calls for conclusion.
Sustain.
Was the discussions that you had with him about giving your mother custody, was that following the motion that she had filed for custody?
Yes, there was supposed to be a custody hearing coming up.
Counsel asked you some questions about your dad driving a Corvette. This was after your mom and dad had separated, is that correct?
Yes.
Several years after they'd separated?
Well, he got a new car sometime later. I don't know what year he got the new car. But yeah, he had the Corvette for a while.
And she was angry about the fact that he was driving a Corvette?
Yes.
Was it, did she wanted to dictate what car he drove?
Yes. She wanted him to get a family car.
Did he ultimately buy a sedan, a Jag sedan?
Yes.
Did the fact that she didn't like that he wasn't driving a family car, did that have anything to do as far as your conversations with her about why she killed him on November 5th, 1989?
No.
Did you or Danny or Red or Lee ever go without food at your dad's house?
No.
Is there any substance to that?
No. There was always food at Dad's house. There wasn't always a particular kind of snack food that we wanted after school, but there was food and there was snacks. That's the only thing I can think of that there wouldn't have been. I'm sorry. There's meals on the table every night. There's breakfast food. It's the only thing I could think of that anyone would have complained about was their choice of snack food.
In fact, was one of the jobs of the housekeepers who worked for you to cook the meal, the evening meal?
Yes, and they usually went grocery shopping, and we were supposed to tell them what we wanted.
And the business about you charging food on your mother's account in La Jolla, did that have anything to do with your dad? Did your dad tell you to go charge food on your mom's account?
No, that was of my own free will. We didn't buy groceries. It was just snacks and stuff when we'd be in La Jolla.
Now, Christmas, you were asked a question about Christmas of 1985 and going skiing with your father.
Yes.
Were you aware of whether or not your dad had offered to let your mother have the kids that Christmas?
I don't remember. Too long ago.
Do you know whether when she found out that your dad and Linda were going skiing, that she said no? She wouldn't take the kids?
I don't remember.
when you were asked some questions about whether your mother ever had any money to go skiing, your mother went skiing herself after the separation several times, didn't she?
Yes.
She went to Keystone, she went to Park City, she went to Deer Valley, several different trips. Is that correct?
Yes.
And she took the kids too, right?
On one occasion to Keystone, she took Lee, Danny, and Red. She took Lee and I to Deer Valley twice. And I don't know about any other times.
So is it fair to say if she wanted to go skiing, she had money to do it?
Yes.
You were asked some questions about a statement that you had earlier made when you were asked whether or not your mother was a good mom. And you weren't allowed to give the complete statement there. Is it not true that you also, in answer to that question, said, no, she's too obsessed with hating my dad? I mean, whenever they're over there, that's all she talks about?
Yes.
And did you also relay that same feeling back in January of 1989 to the judge during the divorce trial?
Yes.
So that wasn't something that just you thought about after your dad and Linda were killed?
No.
You felt that, in fact, did you tell the judge that your mom was doing irrational things, she had a very bad temper, and she was obsessed with hating your dad and Linda?
Your Honor, objection, lady.
Sustained.
Do you recall making statements to that effect to a judge?
Yes. When my sister and brothers and I went to talk to a judge in one of the custody hearings in his chambers, and we each talked to him together and we talked to him separately. I believe I told him those statements when I talked to him separately.
Your dad did have some disagreements, problems with your sister Lee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Had your sister Lee been caught doing drugs?
She got caught with drugs at school, and then from then on, there were lots of problems.
Did she drop out of school?
Yes, she did.
And were those things that your dad was concerned about?
Yes.
Right before his death, or shortly before his death, were things getting better between your dad and Lee, as far as you recall?
Your Honor, objection. Calls for conclusion, speculation.
Overall, it's an opinion of lay witness and gave you answer that.
Well, we all went to Hawaii the summer before Dad died together. So that was an improvement. And
Had Lee gotten her GED?
yeah, she got a high school equivalency. Sometime that year, and then we all went to Hawaii together, and we all spent our birthday night together. So those seem to be improvements.
And on this incident when your mother drove the car through your dad's door at Cypress, you mentioned that she said something about coral reef and that it's actually I think counsel said it was the only asset that she had her name on it, but something about the fact that that there was nothing left in the world without her name on it, something like that.
No, she just said I have nothing left. She did not say those two together, I don't think.
But if she was suggesting that she had nothing left after coral reef was sold, that would have, is it fair to say that would have been a tremendous exaggeration?
Your Honor, objection. It calls for speculation and conclusion.
Sustained, it's argumentative.
Were you aware that she had her name on the Days Yellow House?
No, I don't know about her name on anything.
Okay. Did she ever tell you that that he had sold the only property with her name on it out from underneath her?
No.
And you also indicated that your mother had a fair amount of papers and things in her house, boxes and stuff.
Right.
Was that just legal documents, or were there newspapers, magazines, articles, a lot of that stuff?
All kinds of stuff.
Those are things that she kept,
Right.
She kept everything.
Right.
Didn't throw any of that away.
She collected catalogs and newspaper clippings and magazines and legal documents and lots of stuff.
And she made copies of a lot of stuff too.
Yes.
That's why she had her own Xerox machine.
Right.
I have no further questions.
Recross?
You had some problems, you had to talk your father into having Lee go to Hawaii, didn't you?
Well, both of us. He had originally invited all four of us, and then he had decided that Lee and I shouldn't go anymore because I had a job and Lee was working. Lee was working at Chuck's at the time, so we decided both of us weren't going to go, and then I talked him into having both of us go.
Well, wasn't there a time where Lee wasn't gonna go and you went and interceded? It wasn't a question about both of you, it was a question about Lee. Or was it always a package deal? Lee only went if you went.
Well, he said both of us weren't going to go, and then I talked to him and both of us went.
There was never a time that Lee was upset because she was not.
I had told her that Dad had said that about both of us. It wasn't just Lee.
There was a time where Lee was upset because she wanted to go different than you, right?
I don't understand what you mean. We both wanted to go.
And your dad said neither one of you are going?
He invited us, and then he never said to us both of us aren't going. He just kind of never talked to us about it again. And then I talked to Linda, and Linda said, "Oh well, you both have work and school, and oh no, it's just both of us had work." And then I talked to him, and then I told him both of us still wanted to go, and he couldn't invite us.
You were the one that introduced Lee to drugs, weren't you?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You want to make an offer proof why it's relevant since it went into it.
Make that at the recess.
Oh, that's a low blow. If that's not true and he doesn't have proof that that is true, that's really low. That's bad. Because that's a lot to put on her shoulders. Shinny. I can't answer that.
Lee was upset about her treatment because of drug use and you being treated different, wasn't she?
Lee was upset because of her relationship with Mom and Dad.
You indicated that the only reasons you knew that your father deducted money from your mother was because of vandalism. Is that correct?
No.
Well, that was one of the reasons.
That was one of a few reasons.
Now, were you aware that the court ordered, do you know when your father made the deductions?
When he was going to give her check. Then I believe he sent a attachment to it saying what the deductions were for.
Were you aware of any deductions in 1985?
I don't know the years of any deductions. I don't know.
Were you aware that the system of deductions started in September of 1986?
I'm not aware of when the deduction system started.
Okay, but you are aware that the system of deductions was partially because of vandalism. Is that correct? And to pay for it?
It was for a bunch of different things.
But that was one of them.
Right.
The car incident happened beginning of 1986 in February. Is that correct? Or
I'm
March?
not sure.
It was February, March of 1986.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
You had just moved into the Cypress home. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, we have the car incident after you moved into Cypress home. What was the next act of vandalism that your mother committed?
I don't know.
Think about it.
The vandalism was mostly at Coral Reef. I don't really remember any of the vandalism.
So there was some things that happened, and the last thing that you remember happening is February, March of 1986. Do you remember anything happening after the car in 1986?
You're speaking of vandalism? No, I don't remember anything else.
Do you remember anything happening in all of 1987 as far as vandalism?
Don't remember anything else of vandalism other than the picture.
Okay. So the next thing you remember after the incident in 1986, the last incident that you remembered was in May of 1989. Is that correct?
Yeah, she did do something to his car. Somewhere in between those two times. She ripped off the antenna and threw a rock at it. That might be called vandalism.
Did you see her do that?
Saw her rip the thing off the antenna, yeah.
Okay, and when was that?
Somewhere in between those times. I really don't know. Sometime when Dad came to get us.
And the incident before, in 1985, when there was the incidents of throwing the pie and the spray painting, can you relate when those happened? Were those happened in December of 1985, October?
I have no idea.
Do you remember anything happening in December of 1985?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything that happened. Pretty much the dates longer than 2 years ago.
You indicated that the only reason that Rhett would say anything about your dad being mean was because your mother liked to hear it, about your father being mean, hurting him. Isn't that right? Remember that?
About hurting him or about hurting him?
About pushing him down the stairs.
That particular incident, I don't believe Dad really did that. I think he just told Mom that because she wanted to hear it.
And Rhett got in trouble with that from your dad, isn't that right? For saying that to your mother?
For telling her things that weren't true.
Did Rhett tell the judge about getting thrown into the wall by your father because the judge liked to hear those things?
Objection, Your Honor, lack of personal knowledge.
Same.
Well, you didn't have personal knowledge about the stairs, did you?
Objection, argument.
Same.
Did you ever find out that the boys were telling the judge about things because they thought the judge liked to hear things, about lack of food in the house?
Objection, assumes facts not evidence.
Sustained.
I'm asking if she heard, if she had some personal knowledge about that.
Anything, she clearly wouldn't have any personal knowledge about that, Mr. Early. If this took place between the kids and the judge in private, it's not relevant to these proceedings. It had to do with the child custody.
Now, the MG, when you were asked about that at the trial, you remember, the prior trial, you remember indicating that your mother bought you a car, after there was problems with the MG.
No, I don't remember indicating that. Problems with MG were basically when we had the big problems and it would stop. The engine would just go off on the freeway. That was when I came back from college. It was summer. I didn't have my license until right before Mom got me the car. So if there were problems with MG, that must have been with late. But she had her own car too, so.
Did you have problems with the MG?
once I got back from college.
Didn't you say that, and you've never had, there was never a reason that your mother bought you've never testified when you were asked about the MG, that's why your mother bought you a car? It's not what you testified to?
Objection, Your Honor. I'm sorry, I think the question's unintelligible.
Well, if you're referring to a particular page, Mr. Earl, if you'd state the page,
Page 367.
the line numbers.
The whole page, 1 through 28.
All right. And this is from which transcript?
This is from the trial transcript, the last trial, I believe, the October 24th.
Okay, go ahead.
Would you read that page to yourself?
Okay.
Have one more. Do you have an opportunity to read that page?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you were asked a question about, did your father have a Corvette at the house? Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that was, I didn't put, there was no, yes was your answer, not words put in your mouth, right?
My dad have a Corvette?
Yes.
Yes.
And the next question, was there a time that you had for your access to drive at your father's house? Was there a time that you had a card for your access to drive at your father's house? And your answer was an MG.
Yes.
And did you talk to him about the safety of the MG and it breaking down?
Yes.
Okay. And you indicated that your father didn't believe that. The question was, and your father didn't believe that, did he? And you answered no.
Okay.
Okay, and the next question was, is you went to your mother to get a car because your father would be angry at you if you didn't make do with that one. And you indicated he might have been angry at it. You didn't say, I didn't have access.
Argumentative.
Sustained. What she didn't say is argumentative.
And your father didn't believe that, did he? He said, you might have been angry at me. Is that correct?
Objection. The question's unintelligible.
Overall, you can answer that.
Did I say that? Yes.
He said when you graduate for college, you were supposed to, until you graduated from college, you were supposed to use the MG. Is that correct?
Yes.
And the next question, okay, so your mother brought you a car, answer yes.
We're not going to object to these questions. There's nothing inconsistent with them, with what she says.
There isn't so far. I don't know what he's getting to, so overall, go ahead.
The district attorney asked you a number of questions. Remember about what your mother did not say on the tape? The argumentative questions about what they did not say on the tape?
Those objections were sustained, Mr. Earl. Your objections to those questions were sustained.
Did How did you know that your father was making voluntary payments?
Because my mom and my dad both told me that.
And do you know the, how much those payments were?
$9,000.
And do you know how much was being deducted for all the expenses? Houses, insurance, cars, credit cards?
Deducted from the $9,000?
Yes.
No. I just knew that figure.
The, you indicated that, at some point in time, you thought that both your mother and father were playing games with the visitation.
Objection, Your Honor, that's beyond scope.
Sustained.
Well,
There was no testimony on redirect regarding visitation.
I beg to differ, Your Honor. There was a letter that was shown to her. I thought that was,
She said she didn't recognize, never seen before.
and there was questions about visitation before the letter.
That was foundational for the letter that she said she did not recognize and she'd never seen before.
Can I have a moment, Your Honor?
Certainly.
The,
Judge is getting a drink.
during the time that your mother was living at the rental house, was your, and your father left, was there a number of things that were going on that were upsetting the household?
Objection, Your Honor, beyond scope.
What rules against that?
I also object to Sunday.
They pin it down as the time, Mr. Early.
Should I go by day, Your Honor? I said after your father left in the rental home, that's a 2-month, 3-month period. I can go from day to day.
You don't have to go from day to day, just pin it down to what time frame, what year are you talking about?
Okay.
When your father lived in the rental home, what year that was?
In 1985, after February 28th, when your father left the rental home, was there a number of problems that were, that the family was having?
Yes,
Okay, children were fighting,
just like always, though.
no more than usual?
Nope.
Your mother wasn't any more upset than usual?
Mom was more upset than usual, but we were all fighting. As much as always.
Was there any thing being mentioned about money or where money was coming from or how they were going to live?
Yes, Mom was worried about that.
Was and you say that it's usual in La Jolla to have rats running across people in the house. That's a fairly usual occurrence.
Objection, Your Honor, that misstates the
Sustained.
Well, you indicated that rats in La Jolla are fairly usual down at that part. Is that correct?
There are rats down there in the houses, not crawling across people.
Okay. Well, do you remember indicating that there was times where the rats were crawling up on the furniture or beds?
No. I said, you asked me about that, and I said that no rats ever crawled over me.
Okay.
I don't know of any rats crawling over people. There are rats down there, I know, in the shores area, and we had rats at our house.
But in your mind, that was the same problem that everyone was having in La Jolla Shores.
I don't know about everyone, but I know that our house isn't the only house with rats.
There were times you indicated where your mother would not pick up the children when she was supposed to? Or do you remember that? Or did that happen?
From school, you mean? I think most of the time she picked them up from school when she was supposed to pick them up.
At your father's house when there was when she was supposed to, when she was allowed to, would she come and pick them up?
No, when she would visit them on the weekend, she usually picked them up from school.
Okay. But were there times where she was supposed to come over to the house and pick them up and she just wouldn't show up?
No, by that point, it was usually pretty final. I mean, if they thought she was coming over, she usually came over by then. If there was any cancellation, it would have been right before that.
And the messages on the machine, did they start pretty much as soon as you moved into, did they start before you moved into Cypress?
Yes, they started at Corby.
And they were a big deal in the family. And they caused a lot of uproar.
Yes, they did.
I have no further questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take our afternoon recess at this time. Please remember the admonition. We'll be in recess till 3 o'clock.
Just before you, I have no other redirector
Oh, you don't?
on Kim, so you can excuse her.
Well, then hold off for just a minute. Any objection to being excused?
Subject to recall.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your subject up now.
Thank you.
We did it. We did it. Wow. I hope it's not locust defecating. Also, Gabby, when you were going through all the nicknames for Daddy Short Nuts, the one I cannot do because we tend to shorten a lot of people's names, you know, like Shenny, Graham, Shenny. Well, Gabby's Gabby. This dare is a dare. You get my drift. I cannot shorten Daddy Short Nuts to Daddy because that would be weird. I can't do it. There's so many things wrong with that. Wow. Ew. I could not live with rats. When my mom and dad lived out in California for the, I don't know, 10 years or so that they did, my mom would talk about tree rats. I'm like, are you talking about squirrels? She's like, no, I am not. Short as nuts. I can't. I couldn't call him. He's just gonna be always. He's just gonna be Daddy Short Nuts. Well, I don't know the story, but I would feel weird calling a grown man Daddy. Like, hey, Daddy. How you doing, Daddy? Like, that'd be weird. That'd be weird for me. Or Dad or Nuts, because it's a mouthful. A dare. A dare. Oh my God. Every once in a while, I'll dare you just you come in there and I don't even see it coming and I trip all over it. So oh well, I needed that after all this. Oh, I don't know. Daddy Short Nuts, I'll own Daddy Short Nuts with you all day long. I do not find it awkward to say anymore at all. I think it's hilarious. And it's such a good name. I don't even know the story around it, but it's okay. I don't have to. But I'm not embarrassed to say it. Ah. I believe you. I don't remember the whatever was the tree rat out there was not a squirrel. I never quite understood what it was, but man, she described it to me one day and I was like, I don't want those. I don't want those. Sure, Daddy Shortnuts, you can tell the story. You better not dream. You better not have dreams of rats and Daddy Shortnuts. Daddy's Shortnuts. Sorry. Not just Daddy Shortnuts. I got it. I'll fix it. I'll fix it in editing. You know that I don't do. Possums. Ugh, we have possums here. They hiss at you and play dead. We we had one. I don't know what was wrong with poor little fella. We put him out of his misery, but he was out in the daytime, which was odd. But he was walking down our yard like if Stevie Wonder would be walking down our yard. You know how Stevie Wonder like I can't do it, but that's how. And that possum would stop every once in a while, and he was like, "There's no music playing, buddy, but you're about to go see the angels." Because I don't know what's wrong with you, but you can't be here. You cannot be in my yard. All right. Your son was in kindergarten during the coof and doing a show and tell over Zoom. All right, I'll just put it up there. People can read along with me. I'm still stuck on possums. Skunks are the worst ever. I have a hate relationship with them. That I've talked about many times, so I will not talk about it again today. Maybe tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow. I should. You should definitely have a bouncing shorts as you're reading Daddy Shortnuts. What? I don't have bouncing shorts. He showed the Fisher Price figure that's your profile pic. The teacher asked for the guy's name, and my son says, Daddy Shortnuts, out of nowhere. Zoom and kiss school. You know, I've been trying to figure out what your profile pic is because usually I'm just reading the comments and I've never looked at it. I just looked at it. Yes, Gabby, I know what you're talking about. I just don't have that. I'm not. As y'all know, I am a tech genius. I never mess it up at all, except when I do. That's the story. That's very cute. I won't. How old did you? Kindergarten. Oh my gosh, that makes it even better. And so you're going to be able to tell that story at your son's wedding, and it's going to be amazing. Those are the types of things that are the best. That's a 1970s Fisher Price adventure, people. It would be cool if they had that as an option. It'd be cool for about 5 minutes, and then you all get sick of it and tell me to turn it off. I know how it works. You wouldn't want to follow the bouncing ball very long. You'd be like, stop it, just read it. It is a very innocent story. And it's hilarious that you have that as your YouTube name. I think it's awesome. I just can't wait till you get to tell him. But tell the story when he's older. and old enough to appreciate the fact that you remembered the story and embarrass him just a tad. It's okay. But no, it's perfect YouTube name. When I first saw it, I was like, holy crap, what is happening? But now it doesn't bother me a bit. I'm here for it. All right, so we are through with Kim for now. I don't know if she makes a reappearance because I've not looked that far ahead. I'm trying to figure out, and maybe one of you can tell me. And I know Lori Vallow starts June 2nd, so that's not the reason. But for some reason, I wrote on top of my page that I had for the Marcella Chedester trial, June 2nd through 6th and June 9th through the 13th. And I have no idea why. Because I have Lori Vallow June 2nd written on a different page. And I was going to throw this one away, but I can't figure out why I have those dates written down. And then it looks like I have no idea. That is so weird. Driving me nuts. Thank you, Lord above. All right. Well, you guys apparently don't know either. Thought you would save me. So I will not be here tomorrow. Tomorrow night is my regular night. I know I went here last Wednesday because it was my dad's birthday. But tomorrow is my regular Wednesday to have dinner with my dad and my brother. And I don't know if, yes, I don't know. We may, or, well, you may or may not see Gabby and Carmen tomorrow. They may host a stream. I will not be held responsible for anything that happens. They will not be covering a trial. They will probably just be hanging out and having fun. Depending on, well, a lot will depend on how Carmen's feeling. She will make or break the whole thing. But Brandon said, my son, so Carmen is my daughter. If you don't know, Brandon's my son. He had surgery on Monday. He's a little, he and I feel so bad because you guys know I had back surgery back in October and it like immediately fixed me. He has had the same like issue going on as I did. And I kept telling him like, you're going to wake up, you're going to feel better and you're going to be great. Nope. But then he told me today that the surgeon told him he waited so long to have it done so that he may take a little while longer to recover. I'm like, that's on you, buddy, because I was telling you, you need to go get this done. He was doing all the other things, and I was telling him like that's great for a lot of things, but that is not going to fix that problem. That is a nerve issue, and you're going to have to go get it taken care of. So I hope that he starts feeling better, but he may join for a stream here or there while he's recovering. It just depends. Because he said, I'll probably join you and not say a word. I'm like, maybe the first time. Adair, I plan to start streaming again in the mornings. Once the retrial's over, I can't do that one every day. And I have been paying attention to it. But there's two, that's just like, that pool is full. And it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for anybody else that's doing anything else. So that's why I just am like, yeah, we'll just not do that for right now. And plus we were doing Vallow. I do plan on doing the second Vallow trial because we're going to bookend this and finish that up and send her away and hopefully never have to hear about her or from her again. Yeah, I hope I just hope it fixes the issue. But I hope Carmen is feeling better, starts feeling better tomorrow. She sounded a little bit better today than she did when she called me yesterday. And so I don't know. Both my kids are down right now. Brandon's at least nearby. I can get to him. Carmen takes a little longer. But she will be up here at the end of next month. And so she will definitely be on some streams with me then, unless she's too busy hanging out with Mad Dog and I don't exist anymore. That is a possibility. So, but like I said, Mad Dog turns 1 next month, and everybody's excited, except her mom. Her mom's on the fence. She says she already is telling me it's going by too fast. I'm like, wow, okay. You have no idea. You have no idea. So, Thursday, I will be back if the YouTube and Rumble Gods allow. And I know I have seen Mad Dog every day, and she is pretty epic. She's funny. Thursday, we get not Kim Broderick. We are going to get a hodgepodge of people. So, one of the housekeepers, San Diego PD officer. Well, that makes okay. A friend of Dan and Betty, a security officer, and another housekeeper / nanny. And I think that's all the further I have kind of checked out to see what lies ahead, other than I do know that Lee testifies at some point. I just don't know when. Nope. I went out a little further than that. One thing I do wish this judge would let us see is the arguments between the attorneys, because I bet they're interesting, because I like this judge. I don't know how anybody else is feeling about him. Nobody has said one way or another. I like this judge. I keep trying to put him in the retrial and imagine if it would be different or the same or whatever. We'd probably at least get to hear what the objections are instead of just the words. But who knows? I'll let everyone know tomorrow sometime if we're going to do a live at night. Cross your fingers, Carmen feels better. Yes. And I will let you know, if she doesn't let you know, when I know, because I don't know when I'm going to know what I already don't know. All right. That's all I've got. That's it. So unless anybody else has anything, thank you guys all for joining me again. I'm sorry that court TV feed was so flashy tonight. I was going to make a joke that's where they had to splice the videotape together, but I didn't. I was going to type it, and I was like, yeah, then that might just be people like, really? I don't know. I mean, Flashman was here. He'd say, you should know, but I don't know. And it would have just been a joke. So, Dare, I think I hear thunder. I told you to keep those over there. All right, you guys. Have a good night. If you're having storms, have a safe night. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys on Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. Adair time. And you guys all know the rest of the drill. And that's all I got. So thank you guys. And I will see you all later.